Hey, Trader Steven here with TradersPlan.com. It is Friday, October the 22nd, before the market opens. We're going to do what we usually do on Friday is we're going to look at the market real quick, and then we're going to look at some top ETFs of the week, really see if there is any new industries kind of coming into the top 10, which there is, and we're going to talk about that. Let's start with the S&P 500. Right here, you have a close to an all-time high, so it's really, it's hard to be bearish, right? You have this little mini inverse head and shoulders with the neckline right at the 50-day moving average. It breaks out. Everything looks pretty good from here. So, maybe the market does ease a little bit. Maybe it doesn't, right? If it does ease, I think it could ease, a couple percent back to the 50-day moving average and maybe possibly create a cup with handle pattern. But, we'll just kind of wait and see on that. But right now, it's looking pretty good. Nasdaq is looking very similar, although lagging a little bit due to its more, tech-heavy nature. The S&P 500 is made up a more diversified index made up of value-oriented, like banks and energy, where the Nasdaq doesn't really have that. So you have a little lag, hasn't quite closed at an all-time high, but is literally within a stone's throw. So, again, everything's really looking good here, trying to get out of this correction right here. Wouldn't be surprised if the market eases for a few days and kind of pulls back the 50-day moving average, settles a little bit before it resumes its uptrend. Let's look at the top ETFs of the week. There's definitely a theme. You have, I've been talking about. Let's start with this one. You have this China Internet ETF. A lot of volatility right now with the in the Chinese news, with the real estate market and everything like that. But if you kind of scroll through here, you can see this ETF was up 5.7% through the end of close Thursday. But you can start to see some other China ETFs that are really screaming in the top 10. But let's look at this real quick. And, what I've really stated the last couple weeks is like, hey, it went from under the 50-day moving average, which is the orange line. It's lived under it. And now it is since the beginning of March. And now the last 2-3 weeks, it has been above it. So we have a change in personality on, I believe that was Tuesday, the 19th. It broke above the last week's high. So it's trying to make higher highs. Obviously this is a volatile trade, but it's looking pretty good. Maybe I like it a little bit lower with the stop under last week's low, right? Because if it falls back under the 50-day moving average, I wouldn't get involved in it. But right now it's looking pretty good if that can hold. You have the cannabis ETF, and I want to talk about POTX. I want to talk about the weekly chart a little bit because you have a really nasty downtrend going back since February. A lot of failed rally attempts. This is just pretty ugly. And then this week, I'd probably more like to look at this one because you really have a reversal pattern right here. Unless it really sells off today on Friday, you have a reversal pattern right there in above average volume. Now, to be clear, when you have a reversal pattern in a nasty downtrend, any kind of trend reversal has a higher chance of failure. So if it would have pulled back right here and then reverse, that's a pullback within an uptrend. Right now, you're looking for a reversal in a downtrend. So it has a lower win ratio if you attempt these reversals, but obviously it has a higher payout because it can really slingshot out of here. So, but honestly, I stuck my toe in the water with this YOLO this week. And, if it hits new lows, I'm out. No big deal. You can use a really tight stop at, around 15 with fresh lows. But to me, this is looking pretty good. It is down pre-market on Friday. So, again, when you're in a downturn like that, you really do have a lot of false. Look at all the times it got rejected at the 50-day moving average. And now we have a test, and it might get sold off. But, we'll just kind of wait and see. If it's selling off Friday morning and you say, okay, Steve, I want to play the more conservative approach, you could buy it as it breaks above Friday's high of 1662 because it's likely to pull back. And then if it comes back again, that's probably a better buy signal. So it's actually probably what I'm going to say. Okay, if you're at this point right now and haven't stuck your toe in the water, I just kind of keep an eye on this. And the reason why I'm keeping an eye on cannabis, one, it's in the top 10. Two, I've noticed that, crypto and a lot of clean energy stocks and ETFs have been popping the last couple weeks last September of 2020, they all really moved in tandem. There was really a risk on, and we all made a lot of money from it going into February, and they've really been ugly ever since. Well, if they start to all move again, right, that's signs of a real risk on, and there really does want to be kind of an end of the year rally. So, just this is kind of early, right? But it could look pretty good with a tight stop. Let's look at the uranium ETF. I did buy some right here on this day, sold half at 8%, raised my stop to break even. So this could roll over and trigger me out for a small 4% gain, right? No big deal. Or it could go to the moon. Right now, based on yesterday's action, I definitely wouldn't get in here. So I would just kind of keep an eye on it. This is a little volatile right now. So just kind of look at this hydrogen ETF. This is also coming in the top 10, but honestly, it just does not have a lot of volume. Yesterday only traded 40,000 shares, even though technically speaking, the chart looks good, right? You have that right there, right? Maybe it pulls back and it tests here. I can really see this as volume coming into this. So this might just be an ETF just to have on like a long-term watch list. See if some more volume comes in it, and I think eventually it will. Right, this might be a industry that is interesting, but right now there's just not a lot of volume on it, so I kind of skip over it. So if we continue to scroll down, you can see clean energy. This clean energy ETF is just outside the top 10. It did have it's had a good couple weeks. But it's still, a lot of these clean energy ETFs are still right at their 200-day moving average. So, you could it might make sense to wait till you get a definitive breakout. And I'm sure this is going to be very headline oriented based on if anything gets passed in Washington. So far, I think you got the pot ETF that has some even though I like YOLO better. I do like YOLO a little bit better, but, well, they're kind of both the same. So either or, YOLO, POTX, or MJ, they all kind of move in tandem. So there's definitely some opportunity there. I think there's opportunity in the China ETF, the KWEB. Again, these are both pretty volatile ETFs. Clean energy, I'd probably wait. One thing I did want to touch base on was silver. So you have a lot of and I can just look at the silver miners for a second. I talk about personality change. If I go to the weekly chart, I mean, this is a pretty ugly chart right here, but if it kind of comes, if it fails to fail and it comes back in this level, right, I might start watching it again. A lot of the metals, silver and gold, have had a really good 2 to 3 weeks. Still kind of in a downtrend, but now busted through the 50-day moving average. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on it. I don't know if it's the best on the block right now, but I'm keeping my eye on it for potential setups. Maybe I might let it settle down a little bit, do something like this, and then I'll jump on board right there. I usually don't jump on board when they immediately break out of a downtrend because they almost always come back and test a little bit, right, to kind of shake you out. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.